Hi, welcome back to another episode of the True Light Show, Perspectives of Your Own Infinity. So, for today's topic, I want to talk about what true sovereignty is. And it's all energetics, you know, like my work is always around energetics first, not changing that 3D. It's always about the 4D, always about the invisible world, right? The imagination, the what we feel before it becomes solidify into physical matter. So that's always the perspective I'm coming from, because there's really no solution you trying to put makeup to on the mirror, right? So your face changes, like you put the makeup on your face, right? So just take that into consideration all the time that I'm speaking. True sovereignty for me is you're connected to your own source of energy, of supplies, your own stream of that life force. Instead of summoning, instead of siphoning it from others, right? So it is very normal that in the spiritual path, the seeker is absorbing from their teacher, from any book, anybody else's consciousness, right? While they are trying to figure themselves out, or while they're trying to remember who they are. So in that seeking process, that calibration looks like taking energy, right? So, and again, I have said this in the past, nobody can take energy away from you unless you are leaking. And the only way you're leaking energy is because you're not in alignment with your true source, with your higher self. You're not doing the things that are coming from inspiration, right? It's not an inspired action. Then you're leaking energy. If it's not coming from wholeness, from unity, from the abundance that you are, from the joy that you are, from the peace that you are, then you're going to leak energy because it's not true. If it's coming from separation, from fear, from scarcity, you're leaking energy. All those ideas makes you have the experience of being depleted and being drained. And of course, somebody else that's drained because they're cut off from their own source is going to use that energy. So for me, sovereignty is about realigning with your own stream of energy, realigning, reconnecting with your source. So when people come to me, when people come into my space, because everybody's me pushed out, that's the mirror integration process. It's rooted on that foundation. Everything is you. There's no outside. Everything is a projection of consciousness. It's only the one having different roles, playing out different roles. But from my own individual perspective, everybody in my reality is created by my energy, right? So I'm responsible for how I feel when anybody or anything shows up. It's my responsibility how I feel, what I think, what I believe, how I react, right? It's all my responsibility. So coming from that framework, which is what we practice in Reflectorium, using the mirror integration process in order to dissolve the false self and allow your true self frequency to shine. What happens is, if you come into my field, I know you're me. You represent an aspect of me that I have not yet discovered. And you have a gift for me underneath the darkness, just like I have a gift for you underneath the darkness. So my responsibility is to dissolve the darkness, see through it, see through the illusion of the darkness, and find your true light. When I tap into your true light, it's like you're giving me the gift. You're giving me something. And I never know what it is because it's very personal to each consciousness. And that's the beauty of Reflectorium, of discovering yourself through others fully, absolutely. 100% accountability. those who say, yes, I can remember my reality, but this and that, no, well, you're missing out, right? I'm not here to convince anybody. I'm here to show you the way if you are already there, open. I'm not here to open anybody. The opening has to be there in order for me to guide you into the way that I'm doing things, because this was my initiation. This was what plant medicine actually initiated me into and gave me all the knowledge in terms of the mirroring dynamics and at very, very deep layers and levels on how to understand it and actually apply it and use it, to improve our everyday life. So when people come into my space, I can feel the programs that we share. So it's my duty, it's my responsibility to clear up what I see. And in turn, when I clear my side of the window, what happens? Your side gets clearer. Now you're able to see some light coming through. Now it's your responsibility to clear your side of the window. You see? That's kind of like the analogy. And this works also when there are some mirrors, some people that reflect more the light, others reflect more our darkness. And the reason is because imagine there are two blocks. I have a block on my right hand and a block on my left hand. And in between there is space. If I find another mirror with the same dynamic, they have a block on the left hand and a block on the right hand. There's this space where the light is uninterrupted. So we are reflecting back the truth of who we are. And that's where it feels like amazing to meet with them and to interact, because we're just tapping into the truth of who we are. But if that other person has the blocks reversed, instead of the middle being empty for the light to shine, in the middle there's a block. Now we don't have that same recognition, because there's a program, there's a shared program that needs to be dissolved. So it's like a piece of the puzzle that doesn't go there. So when I'm feeling people and I feel their circuitry and everything, they're connected, and my responsibility is to clear it. So if I feel in any way you're trying to grasp out of your own unconsciousness, right? This is not a conscious, usually it's not a conscious choice unless you're actively working with black magic, right? Then it is your intention to do so. But when it is coming from that ignorance, right, of not knowing, and you're just surviving through life because, we need to survive because we don't know what else to do, because we are programmed and we're conditioned, and we're trying to find our way through the darkness into the light by remembering who we are through the interactions of others that are bringing more light, so we can see ourselves reflected back, so we can actually calibrate to that frequency of our own truth. So when I feel that grasp, the first thing I do, where am I doing the same thing, right? Like I put the responsibility on myself. Where am I doing that same thing? And I can tell you that generally you won't find it like right away, because it's I'll give you an example. One of my clients I was working with, and she was like, but when am I gonna get there? Like, she was tired of the mirrors repeating the same pattern back to her, right? And she was like, I'm tired. Like, I'm when I'm gonna be, why cannot, what her exact words were, why am I not there? Something like that, right? Why am I not there? And she repeated that 3 times. So I immediately knew that was a mirror for me. If something repeats itself if it's repeating twice, I already know it is. But the third one is like complete absolute confirmation. So I'm like, where am I complaining about me not being there? I'm very joyful. I'm very happy with my life. I love my life. I love how everything is unfolding. Even my darkness. I love going through my darkness, expanding through it. I have no idea. Like I cannot see it. But I know it's a mirror. So just that opening of being fully accountable that that mirror is there, showing me something that I cannot see, that I cannot find with my conscious mind, right? That's the trick. You cannot see it. So I'm open and I'm like, okay, I'll see it eventually. I think it was like the next day I was watching, I think it was Bentinho Massaro video, and he was talking about the absolute. The moment he started speaking about the absolute, there was this voice in my head. Why am I not there? And I'm like, oh, I see you. Because I had the mirror first, I spot it. If not, I would have just felt identify with why am I not there? And I would be telling the story to myself and I would be feeling frustrated. Why don't I have that experience of the absolute, right? So because of my acknowledgement and accountability of everything is me pushed out and everything is telling me to some degree something about me that I don't yet know or understand. Because of that opening, it allowed me to see that voice when it said, why am I not there yet? If not, I would have just become it. And I would have not known, and my frequency drops and I start to act from that energy. Because those programs are vibrating I am, right? What is the core frequency of I am not there yet? I'm not enough, right? So I start feeling bad because I don't feel enough just because I don't have the experience that he had. You see, that's how the programs work. Those voices come and you don't even hear them. You just become the energy. You become those thought forms that are lingering around in the matrix. You see, that's how it works. So when somebody reflects back to me that grasping, oh my God, like they're trying to grasp and I can feel it in my being. It's disgusting. It's awful. My immediate response is, where am I doing the same thing, right? I'm open to that. I don't know, but I might be doing it to my kids because I think it's love and I'm grasping onto their energy just because I want to feel that. So I give them love and it's being disguised as me loving them. Like I've seen that program or with a pet or anything. Like you don't know where you're doing the same thing. But if the mirror is there for a reason. So that's the first thing. And the second one is I have to find out what is the bigger program or understanding of why we're meeting, right? I know for myself, I have to dissolve that first. And for them, once I dissolve it within myself, I now can give them feedback because now I have my channel open and I can reflect back to them what they need for their own, from their own personal place from where they're at, right? Because the mirror for me is not going to be the mirror for them, even though it's the same frequency, it's the same energy. It translates differently, right? The way it's applied, it's different for each person. So my ability to translate that understanding into their world is the work that I do. I clear up my part and then I translate to you and we figure out to different avenues how is that active in your field, how it's working out until you come into complete understanding. Oh, that's it. Because you have to have your own recognition. I can tell you, but if you don't see it, it's not going to work. So I have to use where you're at so you can truly understand what I'm seeing. Because I've done it. I've given people the mirror back, but they're not there yet. So they're like dismissing it and they say no. But then they come back to me once they have like the opening or something that triggered them and they realize, oh, she told me this and that. And now they come back to me. So I've seen it. It's just, I feel like a waste of my time. Like if you're not there, I'm just spitting nonsense. So I just wait for the right time and work with people where they're at. But that's for me energetic sovereignty, right? You're not sourcing from anything within the illusion of form. You're sourcing from your source, from inside of you. You're connected to the truth of who you are. And that's what my experience with plant medicine allowed me to. It was the beginning of a grand initiation for me, because it wasn't just really during the plant medicine. It was what came before. No, it was actually what came after the integration part, the dissolving of the mask, the transmutation of the darkness into light. That was the real work. And that's what we practice in Reflectorium. You get the reconnective healing frequencies, because I was attuned to them. You get a wealth of knowledge. Like, you can ask questions. I am an open source library, a walking library, if you want to call it. I've never knew how to trust the knowledge that was coming through me until now. I always had the answer for everything, even though it wasn't my experience, but the answer always flowed through me. And always, like I said on the previous episode, I would always get attacked. How do you know? Like, what's your experience for you to say this, right? So in a way, it kind of like pushed me back, and I started to shut down and not speak. But now that I know, nothing stops me. But this is what we do in Reflectorium. Your voice becomes your conduit for your power, for your creativity, for whatever, because it's through speaking that we resolve the programs and that you come into full alignment with your truth. You're not going to learn more things or read or binge courses, video, none of it. It's real-time energetic calibration to the truth of who you are by collapsing the patterns of the false self. Like, that's immediate access to me. Every week we get together, and the price right now, if it eventually is going to go up, you can lock it in at the price that is at the moment of this video recording, which is $97 a month. That's nothing compared to what you get. Every week we meet for an hour and a half. The things that we work through, the breakthroughs that we have, is just amazing. Amazing to see that I am the facilitators for others to be in their own true light and to start working and offering what their gift is. Because you don't know what your gift is if it's buried beneath all the stories that you're telling yourself and, the trauma and whatever you got going on. It's buried in your shadow. So we need to dissolve those patterns in order for that true light of who you are come through. And then that light, we can wrap it up into something that you truly enjoy, that can serve others, awaken their true light. Through whatever medium you find it the most exciting, you follow your joy, your passion. What is it? The one thing that feels like playing. That's what we're going to do with you. So it's a 3-part thing. Your honesty to open up, because it's not easy, because you're going to be seen, you're going to be exposed. The parts of you that feel shame and guilt and whatever that you don't want to, that's exactly blocking all of your abundance. It's exactly blocking the relationship you want. It's blocking the life you want. Everything is blocking the truth of who you are. So when you open up, we're able to see the lies that you're telling yourself that you're believing to be you, and we dissolve them and we collapse them. So then this true self frequency gets activated, and now I can help you package it, help you offer it, how you come out into the world to offer it to other people. I help you through all the process. It's at your own pace. That's why I created it as a membership, so we can work at your own pace. I will be opening the intensive pretty soon, which is intense. I'm not sure if it's going to be a 6-month or a year long, because we're going to be clearing like really deep, energetic, collective matrix programs. So I'm still working on that and still receiving guidance on how to completely, fully package it and offer it. But thanks for listening and for joining me on another True Light show. See you. Have a good one.